ADHD and dyslexia are distinct conditions that frequently overlap, therefore causing some confusion about the nature of these two conditions. ADHD is one of the most common developmental problems affecting about 5% of schools' population. ADHD is characterized by inattentiveness, distractibility, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Approximately 30% of those diagnosed with dyslexia also have ADHD. While these two diagnoses coexist, they do not cause one another. Dyslexia is a language-based learning disability that is characterized by difficulties with accurate and fluent word recognition, spelling, and reading decoding. With dyslexia, individuals have a hard time discriminating sounds within a word. This is a key factor in their reading and spelling difficulties. ADHD and dyslexia are diagnosed in different manners. An ADHD evaluation is carried out by your physician or a psychologist. The evaluation should include a complete medical and family history, physical exam, interview with parents and the child, behavior rating scales, observations of the child, and testing to measure the intellectual potential, social and emotional adjustment, as well as assess for present learning disabilities such as dyslexia. While ADHD has many names, ADHD inattentive type is characterized by distractibility and difficulty sustaining mental attention. ADHD hyperactivity impulsive type is characterized by fidgeting with the hands or feet, squirming in the chair, acting like you're driven by a motor, interrupting or intruding upon others. Where ADHD combined type meets both the inattentive and hyperactivity criteria. An evaluation of dyslexia includes collecting information on birth history, family history, child development, including speech and language development and early education. These evaluations are often done by a psychologist that specializes in education. The areas that should be assessed include phonological awareness, phonological or language-based memory, rapid automatic names, receptive vocabulary, phonics skills, decoding words, both nonsense and real words, oral reading fluency, spelling, and writing. Genetics can play a role in half of the children diagnosed with ADHD. Research also supports that 1/3 of children that are born to dyslexic parents will also most likely be dyslexic. Children diagnosed with dyslexia and children diagnosed with ADHD share similar characteristics. Children with dyslexia, along with their peers with ADHD, may have difficulty paying attention because reading is so demanding that it causes both fatigue easily, limiting the ability to sustain concentration. Both ADHD and dyslexic children have a hard time with reading. A person with ADHD may be a dysfluent reader along with those with dyslexia. The dysfluency in reading will negatively impact their ability to comprehend what they have read. It is hard for an individual with ADHD or dyslexia to find pleasure in reading. Also common for individuals with either disability is to have trouble with writing. An ADHD writer often has difficulties with organization and proofreading. Both dyslexic writers and ADHD writers may have difficulties with handwriting. It's important for educators to realize that children with dyslexia and ADHD may be underachieving in school even though they are bright and motivated. It is important that the goal of education for both diagnoses, as with every child, is that the individual meets their full personal potential. These individuals need to be carefully evaluated because treatment for the disorder is different from the other. Inaccurate diagnosis can lead to inappropriate interventions and delay in timely, effective intervention. Both ADHD and dyslexia are neurological disorders. Neurological disorders cannot be cured. However, there is hope. If a child with dyslexia or ADHD are identified early in childhood, these children can receive early intervention. These individuals are more likely to learn to overcome their difficulties and maintain positive self-images. These individuals can learn to adapt their weak skills. When given the proper support, remediation, and accommodation, students with dyslexia can go on to be very successful students in colleges and universities, as well as professionals in adult life. Research has shown that children with ADHD who receive early intervention, as well as social skills training after puberty, have gone on to improve and develop their coping skills enough that their symptoms will no longer have a negative impact on their quality of life. Furthermore, the other 50%, when given accommodations, can be very successful in their adult life and higher academic, work, and professional lives. Remember that it is never too late to diagnose these disorders, and it is not uncommon for a gifted person in college or graduate school to be diagnosed with dyslexia or ADHD. These individuals and all individuals with ADHD or dyslexia can learn to develop their personal strengths and not only become successful students, but also happy